Welcome everybody for another great encounter. Hi Joe, how are you? Ciao Joe, come stai?
Come io bene, io tutto bene, grazie, grazie mille.
Thank you so much for accepting this invitation. It's an honor.
My pleasure.
Your surname is the name of the artist Mantegna from Padua, and
Yes.
I think there is a connection.
Well, I hope so. I don't know. That side of my family came from Sicily, at a town called Calasciabetta in the near Vicino Enna. But perhaps many years ago, someone from Padua decided to visit Sicily, and maybe members of the family settled there. And so, but I'm proud to have that name.
And tell us about your relationship with Italy.
Well, I mean, the relationship is has been wonderful. It's been I first of all, I'm Italian on both sides of my family. My father, Mantegna's side, is from Sicily. My mother's side, the Noviellis, are from mainly from a town called Acquaviva della Fonte outside Bari in Puglia. And I've been very fortunate to have made connections to both those sides of my family in Sicily and in Puglia, and especially the Novielli side. I have a my cousin, my cugino Nicola Novielli has an agroturismo in the town of Acquaviva, known called Massaria Mofetta, and I've been there numerous times. And I've been going to Italy since I first went in 1975. I was with a theater company in Chicago when we were touring Italy, and I was just gotten married that year with my wife, and we're still together now. We've been married now for over 40 years. But that was my first trip to Italy in '75, and that excuse me, that same year is when I made that my first trip to Sicily, into the town of Calasciabetta to go to the visit to whatever relatives my father's family had there, and then go to Acquaviva in Puglia and meet the relatives of my family there. And I was one of the first people in my family to go back to Italy because it was very difficult back in those days in the '60s and '70s. People didn't travel. If you didn't have money, people didn't travel all that much. So it was quite an adventure for me, and it was so wonderful because it opened the doors to my Italian family, who I'm very close to, and I've got to meet many cousins and cugini and zii and zia and everybody. And so we've continued to stay in close contact, and many of them come visit us here in America, and we go to Italy. And I've done movies in Italy. I've done movies in Rome and Florence and Venice, for movies like Godfather 3, uh, a movie called Pontormo about the famous Italian artist, again, Renaissance artist. Uh, Another film shot in Venice called Laguna. So anyway, my connection to Italy is very strong, and I've hosted the Sons of Italy convention here in Washington D.C. in the United States for close to 20 years now. So, and my wife, we owned a very Italian themed restaurant for 16 years here in Burbank, California. So, my Italian roots are deep, is all I can tell you. I guess is the best way to put it. And I'm just very proud to have that heritage.
It's very good for our population because Italo-American, you are one of the Italo-American famous actor, and it's an honor to be with you now. And I have another question. You speak about uh, Godfather. Godfather is one of the most important movie. And I question, what was like working with Francis Ford Coppola?
Well, it was really great. I mean, because Francis, as you can imagine, was is a maestro. He's a brilliant director, and he had already done the first two movies, which are arguably two of the best films ever made: Godfather One, Godfather Two, plus all of his other work. So to work with him, to work with first of all an artist of that magnitude was wonderful, and very proud that, and I was very proud the fact that he is also very close to his Italian roots, and it's very important to him and we would often talk about that. And I remember one weekend when we were filming in Rome, we had a extended weekend, and I went to stay with my cousins in Aquaviva, and I brought back some wine from there because my uncle Antonio was in the wine business, and I brought him a bottle of their wine, and he so appreciated that. And of course, he's done very well with his own wine business now. Francis has, but he is a true Italian artist and a true Italian maestro. And I mean, among the ranks of all the great, Italian artists that we can claim, going back to Dante and before, up through Michelangelo, and you name it, whether it's artists in art,
Mantegna.
music, science, Mantegna, exactly. Not just the arts, but in science and in literature, and we justifiably, we should all be very, very proud of our heritage, and I certainly feel that way. And Francis Coppola is a perfect example of an Italian American who never lost his Italian identity, and has come to this country, as I have, as my family has, and has hopefully made great contributions to the culture of America, bringing the Italian aspect of our culture to this country.
And was there a movie that changed your career?
I'm sorry, once again?
Was there a movie that changed your career?
What movies have changed my career?
Yes.
Yes. Well, that certainly was one of them. I mean, because it was such a highly anticipated film. I mean, I've been doing this for over 50 years now, and so there's a great body of. I know I have a fairly big body of work out there. I mean, some of the movies I feel very good about. I mean, Searching for Bobby Fischer, I think, was a movie that I feel very good about. It was a very wonderful film. The films I did for David Mamet, I enjoyed. The films I did in Italy, I enjoyed doing them so much, because to be able to be in the country of where all my grandparents were born, and to work there, and to work with Italian directors and actors and things like that. I did another movie in Spain and in France, and some of the actors were Italian on that, which I enjoyed very much. So, in 50 years of being an actor, there's just many things contributed to what my career has been, and I'm still doing it. And the other thing is, I very often choose roles where I request that the character's name be an Italian American, especially in this positive kind of roles. Because yes, I've played the gangster roles, which everybody knows about. They do the mafia movies, and like The Godfather, and I've done other movies like The Last Don for Mario Puzo, which is another wonderful miniseries. I've played Fat Tony on The Simpsons, which is a very popular cartoon all over the world. But I also was very insistent on making sure that many of the characters I play that are very positive role models are Italian Americans. For many years, I was on the series Criminal Minds. It's no accident that the character I played was David Rossi. I told him I wanted to be an Italian American, to be a positive FBI, man of law enforcement. When I played a judge on the Supreme Court in a series called First Monday, I named him after my grandfather. The character's name was Joseph Novelli, which was close to my grandfather's name of Novelli. When I played a surgeon in a film called State of Emergency, I made him an Italian American. When I did a Woody Allen film, Alice, I made him an Italian American. So whenever given the opportunity, I will try to portray Italian Americans in very positive light, to show the fact that, yes, every nationality has a history of maybe some people that they're not necessarily so proud of, that they were of that nationality. Whether you're Italian, Spanish, German, pick any nationality in the world, there's going to be the people in that among that population that you're not necessarily proud of. But on the other hand, speaking for Italian Americans or Italians, 99% of the Italian Americans that you can speak about are very positive people, and people to admire and be role models, and just people, everyday people who also just out there doing the best they can and being an asset to wherever they live, whether it's America or anywhere else in the world.
I read one message of Italian guy. My mom and I are big fan of you. We never miss an episode of Criminal Minds. What was it like working on a crime-based television series?
I enjoyed it very much because, first of all, it's a real organization. There is such an organization. First of all, there is an FBI, and there is a behavior and analysis unit of the FBI. So I always knew that I was portraying a real organization. And so I made the character David Rossi. I wanted him to represent those people, which is a very noble profession. It's a difficult profession. Sometimes people would ask me because they would see the show and they'd say, isn't it difficult to play that role because it's so dark and it can be, very creepy and very disturbing? And I say, no. I say, and the reason is because I am portraying a role of a job that people really have to do every day. And so out of respect for them, why should I say, oh yes, this is creepy, I don't like this, this is too scary? No, I have such respect because I'm just doing the make-believe version. I am showing what it's like, but nobody really gets hurt or dies or is tortured on my show, but we portray it, and we portray it realistically. And that's important because the audience has to understand there are men and women who really do this job. So I have tremendous respect for people in law enforcement, for people in the military, people who, when they go to work in the morning, they have to think, there's a chance that today I may not come home to my family. And not everybody has that worry, so much. Obviously anything can happen to a person in a day, but these are people who have chosen a profession that is out there to protect the rest of us. And so I have tremendous respect for them. So I enjoyed very much doing this series, Criminal Minds. And now there's some talk we may even come back in some form and do it again. I hope so. If we do, we'll see.
And I have my curiosity. What is your secret of your success?
I don't know if there's any secret to it. I think part of it is perseverance. It's all I knew. It's all I wanted to do. So I always kept at it, and I always enjoyed it. So I think that's part of it. I think if a person has a passion for something, whatever, if it's acting, whether it's to be a carpenter, whether it's to be a waiter, to be anything, whatever your occupation that you enjoy doing it, as long as you can enjoy the pursuit of it, then it really doesn't even matter how much success you attain. And I know it's easy to say when you've had the success, and I know I've been successful in my career, and I'm very blessed because of it. It's afforded myself and my family a very good lifestyle. But I don't enjoy it any more than when I did it in high school or as a child or when I was making no money, very little money doing it. The enjoyment is the same. So I think that's important. So I think the key is to, as long as you are doing what you love to do, the amount of success, you can't base it just on what they're paying you, what the financial rewards are. It's how are you being rewarded in your heart, And if you can say to yourself, I'm happy, I'm doing what I want to be doing, then everything else is gravy frosting on the cake,
Yes, I know. Very important words. I agree with you. And for you, still American dream still exists?
The American dream?
Yes,
well,
still exists.
Yes, but I have to say this: we are been around long enough to understand we are still a very young country. Italy has been around for thousands of years. America has only been around for hundreds of years, only a few hundred years. Not even a tenth of the amount of time that a civilization like Italy has been around, or many of the civilizations on this planet. So in many ways, we are still an experiment. We are still trying to do what we think is best. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I think the ideal, what we're striving to do is still right, is still if you read what the original founders of this country intended, you read our Constitution, you read our Declaration of Independence, those words are words that I think any country on the planet should be able to say, yeah, that would, if you can do that, that's a good thing. This is maybe the right way to do things. No, it doesn't. It's not easy though, and it doesn't always. There are always bumps in the road, and things happen, and it doesn't always go smoothly. But I think it's the dream is still there. I think it's still attainable. But you know, we constantly have to get better though. We have to be, and I think a lot of it has to do with education. I really think, just as a whole planet, we have to become better educated as a species, you know, all as people on this whole planet Earth, that we should just have to evolve and get smarter and solve these problems when they come up, and not bury our head in the sand and not be ignorant, you know. So we'll see, you know, but just in my lifetime, I mean, I'll be 75 years old this year, and that's, you know, 3/4 of a century. And so it's just the changes I've seen in my lifetime is pretty remarkable, and we'll see what happens.
Many people from Italy, we are connected, many people. I read one message. Who is the best director you work with?
Well, there's certainly been many. I mean, I've enjoyed. I've been lucky. I've worked with some of the greatest actors in the world, actors and actresses. Working with Al Pacino, you know, another Italian American, was a great thrill. You know, wonderful actor. Though I've never worked with him, Joe Pesci is a very close friend of mine. Lives right around the corner from me. He's a wonderful actor. But I've worked with people like Robert Redford, Warren Beatty. You know, I could go down the list. Kenneth Branagh. But even the actors I worked with that not necessarily are big name actors or actresses. People like worked with Cher in a movie, but Madonna. But I also, even the people like on my shows like Criminal Minds, you know, wonderful actors. In order to be successful at the highest level of this business, you have to be, you know, you have to have some talent. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be good, you know. And so when you work at that level, when you're on very successful television shows or movies or theater, you have to be working with very talented people. So there's no like one or two people that I could single out. I mean, I've worked with so many. Tom Hanks, worked with, you know, just, you know, wonderful actors, and some of the great actors in Italy, you know, that when I would work over there, you have some wonderful actors there. So I've just enjoyed the experience.
And speaking of your career, I like to talk about your performance in Baby's Day Out. What are your main memories?
Oh, I have a lot of wonderful memories from that. I mean, first of all, we shot the movie in Chicago, which is my hometown. So that was nice. I spent like there about 4 months, and because it was a comedy, it was a lot of fun to do. You know, it was enjoyable. And so I have a lot of wonderful memories of that. And my children were young, so for them to be there and experience me making the movie as well, a movie that they were able to watch. You know, many of the movies I did at that time was not necessarily a good movie for my children to watch. You know, I don't want my 3-year-old daughter to see me in Godfather 3 necessarily, you know, but until they got older. But Baby's Day Out was a good film for the whole family. And even to this day, I still get many people who come up to me and say, you know, it was one of their favorite films as a child, or they still watch it with their own children now. So it was very enjoyable. Obviously, it's always nice to do a comedy when given the opportunity.
I grew up with Baby's Day Out.
Yes.
I don't remember when many times I saw this movie.
Yeah, it's funny. And what's good about it is you don't have to necessarily have to know to speak very good English to understand what's happening. You can watch the movie and say, okay, I get it. I understand what's happening. So it was good.
And I read the message. What was it like getting the star on Los Angeles Walk of Fame?
that was great. I mean, there was a very nice kind of honor. I mean, I feel very very flattered that I was, achieved that level of where they say, yes, you deserve a star on the Walk of Fame. But again, it's like one of those things that, I just do the work and then the work hopefully speaks for itself. In other words, it seems like yesterday I started in this business and now I've been doing it, as I said, for over 50 years. And so, I mean, it's nice to get that acknowledgement. I know when I won the Tony Award back in 1984 for a play I did on Broadway, Glengarry Glen Ross, that was another one of those things that was very touching. One of the greatest things I'm fond of is when I won the Best Actor Award at the Venice Film Festival, Coppa di Leone from Coppa di Volpi in Venice for
Venice Film Festival.
Yes, for the movie Things Change with Don Amici. And that was very special for me. And especially years later, I was able to shoot the movie Laguna in Venice. And one of my dearest friends, Sergio Boldrin, is a Venetian mask maker who has a shop called Bodega de Mascarar on the Rialto Bridge. And I mean,
very famous.
I think I have one of his, yeah, this is Sergio. He made this for me from a character I did in a movie called Desafinado, a movie called Off Key. I made in Spain. But Sergio made this, and Sergio, plus he has. I mean, the rest of my house is covered with the masks he has made, and he's a wonderful, one of the great Venetian mask makers. And he and his family are very, very dear friends of mine, and to this day. And they like I say, he has a shop on the Rialto Bridge, and so to be shooting a film in Venice, just like when I was working. And Godfather would visit my relatives in Puglia. It was more than just a job. I was a chance to visit friends and family, and so that was very, very important to me.
Venice is very close to Padua, 30 minutes by train.
Ah, okay. Yeah, and I haven't been to Padua. And I think next time in Italy, I'm going to have to make that trip and maybe maybe I could find some Mantegna relatives there. I'll look.
And I read that one message from a guy from Padua. I think it is an honor for me. Mr. Mantegna, we are at the present, one second. I think it's an honor for me and Davide, but above all, for the city of Padua, to host you here to relive the origin of your surname. Mr. Mantegna, also because we have a present adjunct of crime like here in Padua. Also, given our excellence, we have in criminology and psychology studies of the University of Padua.
Fantastic. Yes.
Another question, which is your favorite movie and why?
I really have no favorite movie. I don't. I've just done too many things and I've enjoyed them all. I mean, one film that comes to mind that I enjoyed very much was The Rat Pack, where I got to play Dean Martin, another great Italian American, and who also with Ray Liotta, Italian, who played Frank Sinatra, another Italian American in the film. So that was a lot of fun doing that movie. But there's really no one single film. I just feel blessed that that I've had this kind of a career where I've been able to do multiple things and various things. So there are little aspects of everything I've done that I've enjoyed. And like I say, I've done films I haven't even seen yet, but the experience of doing them was very enjoyable for me, and that was what's important.
And can you tell us a funny story from your career?
From where?
From your career, a funny story. Yes.
Oh God, there's millions of funny stories from my career. I mean, it'd be hard to kind of think about what would be one funny story. I mean, God, yeah, I guess I'd have to think about that. Maybe I think one day I'm going to have to write the book, and I'm going to have to put all the funny stories in there. But off the top of my head, I'm trying to think what would be one kind of amusing story. But I don't know. Like I said, I just get flooded with all kinds of different memories. So maybe what's funny for me is not funny for anybody else. I don't know.
we wait the book. And I have the last question for me. How do you think the world has changed after this pandemic?
Well, it certainly has changed, and there has been some adjustments made, and things will be different now. I mean, I think hopefully we've learned from it. I think in our country, at least here in America, I mean, I think people have found that there are other ways to even work. I think many people have found that they can still be productive working out of their homes. Maybe more people will start doing that with jobs that don't necessarily have to be in an office building or something. And if that's the case, then that's fine. And hopefully we've also learned that we have to kind of like trust, a very dear friend of mine is Tony Fauci, who is obviously in the news very much, the great doctor of immunology. And I've known Anthony for many years. We honored him with the Sons of Italy convention, which I've hosted for 20 years here in America. And so hopefully we've learned from people like him who are very educated that we have to kind of follow the science. We have to kind of do what we need to do and get through this together. That this planet is not as big as we think it is. It's a small. This is all we've got. So we have to do what we can do. So hopefully we've learned from this that there, in times of crisis, in times of peril, in times of uncertainty, we have to pull together as a global community, not just as single countries, and then move forward, And so hopefully we've learned that.
Joe, it was an honor for me for this speaking with you. Very great pleasure.
Well, it's always a
pleasure. We wait you in
Padua.
Padua.
Talk to Italy. Sorry.
We will wait you in Padua.
Yes, I hope to get there. I will make that trip. Next time I come to Italy, I will make a point to definitely come to Padua. I think somebody named Giuseppe Mantegna should visit Padua out of respect for my ancestor. Yes.
And it's possible to have. Can you say hello for our city, for population?
Of course. What is this? So who is it then? What's the name?
Padua City.
Oh, Padua.
It's the citizen of Padua.
This is Joe Mantegna. Joe Mantegna, saluting the great city of Padua, namesake from hopefully a wonderful painter and this poor actor who hopefully is trying to live up to the tradition of great artists from Padua and for the name Mantegna. I'm very proud of it. Thank you very much.
I read one message. Chris Tonacci, Padua is waiting for you soon.
Okay, fantastic. I'll be there. I look forward to it.
We waiting you.
Grazie mille.
Ciao, grazie mille a te. Ciao Joe.
Ciao Davide. Ciao.
Ciao a tutti. Ciao.
Ciao.